is that the issue of sourcing and selecting the power resource is creating and modifying. Also managing comes under technology exposure, asking how exposed are teachers to hardware and also software. And understanding is that with the exposure comes also the technology used, because without the access, without the exposure, then of course the use cannot be discussed. So once the technologies are available in some form or level, and also the teachers continuously use the technology, then you can look at teachers continuously using the technology for professional engagement to create digital content, use it in their pedagogies, and also eventually we see rising competencies when it comes to teachers' ability to perform. This work is basically quantitative and it was done in Kumasi. I looked at 135 data of teachers, and basically I collected the primary data, and the analysis is actually descriptive in nature because I have to describe using figures the nature of technology used among teachers. To just give context, for the sake of our foreign participants here, Ghana, when it comes to our digital readiness index, the indices only help us appreciate the level of technology in Ghana. So we realize that when it comes to examination, we are looking at the general overall and network readiness index. We are looking at the technology infrastructure, both ICT capacity, the governance, how governments use ICT, and also the impact of ICT. Now, when it comes to all these dimensions, we realize that readiness scores are almost equal to global lower middle income countries, and so Ghana's situation is almost equal. But in Africa, Ghana's situation is quite a little above Africa's situation. So it means that what Ghana is suffering from, we can understand and also extrapolate it to some other countries in Africa or the lower middle income countries. But compared to China, you realize that China's figures are way high. And this comparison can appreciate the situation. The 5 out of 54 here is to say that China's network readiness index out of 54 countries in Africa is on the fifth. And when it comes to the global situation, out of 164 countries, Ghana is 98. Meanwhile, China is 20th position out of 134 countries. Like I said, this basically gives us the idea of the situation we have in Ghana. And so one can say that Ghana is better off than other countries. In fact, using the UN Digital Index reports, Ghana is the fifth and Mauritius is the first. And so this idea about Ghana's situation when it comes to digital integration into the education system. Now, with respect to this, are actually the results I had when I conducted my study. When it comes to exposure to digital hardware, we realized that the most accessible technologies are mobile phones, laptops, and television. So now these are both available in schools and also in the individual homes of the facilitators or teachers. But when it comes to the use of scanners, projectors, tablets, and also Wi-Fi systems, we realize that these are very limited, and also the need to introduce some of this infrastructure into the education system. Now, this basically highlights infrastructure challenges in the education system of Ghana. When it comes to skills in using digital software, we realize that teachers have strong skill when it comes to undertaking research or using Microsoft Word or and using communication tools such as emailing, etc. But they are very weak when it comes to using some other tools such as Excel, SPSS, and PowerPoint. So we realize that the teachers' competency in developing PowerPoint, Excel usage, and also undertaking research in the use of SPSS and other research tools is quite limited. And this will tell you that if Ghana being the fifth in Africa is having this problem, then you can understand the situation in African countries. And so this could inform us in how we program or how we develop our teacher professional development programs with respect to building teachers' ICT competence. Now, on the issue of skills in performing basic computer operations, I realized I just use basic operations, for instance, changing font size, creating basic web document, creating document using a creator, etc. These are basic competencies. One must understand to be able to function well in the ICT rich education system. Now you can see the mean results, and we see that most of the results are quite on the average side, quite low. But this kind of processes, we expect a very high operation capacity or operation skills, but it's quite low. It means that there's a need to up the competency of teachers. And based on also the frequency of the technology used, we realize that the mean result is quite low. It means that teachers only use within the technologies that we have available to them. And so this basically informs us that first of all, we should make the technologies available. Second, we should also train teachers to use it. And third, should also ensure that its use is continuously followed up. In conclusion, the technology really has been proven to be able to help teachers tremendously. For example, technology can save you 5 hours of teachers' time in preparation. Technology can be used by teachers for evaluation and feedback, and it can save in 3 hours. Technology can save teachers 2.5 hours in their administrative tasks. Technology can be used for student instruction and engagement, and when it is used, it saves teachers 2 hours, and etc. So basically, technology is good, and so to be able to help teachers, once we understand their very weaknesses, we have to introduce technology of different kind, and of course, from what we saw, to start with very basic technology, not really jump to AI and all its other colleagues. But maybe we have to start from the basic ones, like I explained in the various statements. So we organize this professional development programs also. There's a need to ensure that this continuous professional development program, there's collaborative curriculum design, there's community of practice, and also there are hands-on activities, practical activities that teachers can learn from. The government or other executives or leadership of academic institutions should try. There's limited capital, but there should be ways of raising capital to invest in digital infrastructure, and also we should tailor this up professional development programs to address the needs developing economies. So basically, it's the result of my in the recommendations I have of my work was done at a particular location in Ghana, and I think that it is not so generalizable. But everyone living in Ghana can understand that this situation is not so unique to Kumasi. It's quite available in the same situation elsewhere. Future research is good. Look at the latter respondent category, respondent group, and also we can look at the impact of technology on various variables. So basically, this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. William Mensah. That was an amazing and fantastic delivery. And from here, we'll have a panel discussion. I can see arms up already. I can see that. And we will discuss whatever he has spoken about. If there's anybody who has something else to ask about what he has said, or some kind of adding some value to whatever he has also said, understanding what he has said. So we'll begin with the issue of technophobia. And I would like someone to come on board and discuss what you want to talk about, what he has said so far. Okay, so for now, I would like to call upon Honorable Gifty Ajwabi to start. I see there is Wilfred, right, as on YouTube with his camera. Do you have something to say about what he has just delivered?
Yes, sir.
Please, the floor is yours.
I can be here.
Yes, you can hear.
All right, Mr. Mensah, please, how are you doing?
Very well, sir. How are you?
I'm very well, sir. Thanks for asking. So first things first. It's already a paper you've submitted, or you're still working on it?
I'm still working on it. I'm yet to actually submit it.
All right, and I presume it's supposed to be an SSCI, I guess, from requirements.
Oh, sure.
Exactly. Okay, good. So I think I have a lot of things to talk about, but for the sake of time, I think I might just limit it to a few things, right? And then possibly after the program, I could possibly see you behind closed doors and we talk much about it. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. So I feel there are certain things that we need to understand as the readership, right? Few things like you mentioned things like the K20 teachers. As readers, we want to understand what you mean by that. So if you can put these things down, especially in the abstract of your work, you want to let us understand what we are looking at, especially those of us who might not necessarily be in your favor. We fully need to understand some of these very simple things. Also, you want to talk about what you in by the DIG comp which you mentioned as your framework. We also want to understand that. Also have one quick issue. Basically, which gap does your research seek to address?
It addresses two remaining gaps. One is the limited availability of empirical evidence to let people understand the situation of teachers' capacity when it comes to technology integration. Secondly,
so basically advancing knowledge in the field. It's something we already. So you're adding your okay. Sure. All right. One other thing, before Nanajua comes in, you also mentioned that you are using a theory, the constructionist theory. How does that address the model that you are using?
Okay, thank you. So with the constructivist, I think kind of compatibility theory is that teachers can gain knowledge by, first of all, getting exposure to the level technology and using it, and also by working with in groups or among their colleagues. And so basically with the constructivist, I brought the idea of exposure, usage, and also building of competency. That idea was added from the constructivist theory.
All right. I think that you might also want to look at this theory called the technology acceptance. I realize that you are addressing four main issues in your research, which basically points out to the technology acceptance model. So you might want to incorporate that one also as part of your theories. And so this was actually my major problem here. As like I asked you first, so sorry, as a disclaimer, we're only here to help you make your work better, right? It's not to rubbish anything that you've done. I think it's a fantastic work. It's not something I've really heard much about, even though we are driving much more into digital transformation in our system. But then I realized that you mentioned that you are using a quantitative kind of approach in your methodology. And one, you didn't mention which kind of software you are using, how you did it. I only know that the results were there. But one thing that baffles my mind so much was that you mentioned that you only had descriptive frequencies from what you did. And from my experience, I think that might be very difficult selling in an SSCI or even an ESCI journal. So you might want to consider doing a more robust kind of analysis. We need to see the reliabilities, we need to see the PROVAX alpha, we need to see like a software, not just SSP and SPSS. That's quite basic for this kind of research that you're doing. So I think if you're able to address these kind of concerns, it should be much better. So I think for now, yeah, I'll stick to these ones. And as I mentioned, if the program is over, I'll see you personally and try to give you a few things that you might want to consider. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We'll go straight to the panelists. We have Dr. Nana Ajua Johnson. Please, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I'm honored to be here. Can I be here?
Yes, please.
Okay, wonderful. Mr. William, sorry, I think I missed Mr. Edusei. I guess that's your surname. Your work is really good. It's initially I had a problem because it was kind of restricted to just one section of Ghana. Looking at the fact that, let's say, those babies in Accra may have more access to technology. I mean, the schools compared to Kumasi, and then there are other regions that have less. But okay, you included that in your limitations or future recommendations, so that's okay. But I'm interested in the fact that you did a survey-based assessment of the digital application of like digital using digital education system or something. Sorry. Yes. Thank you very much. But like how practical is it? Looking at the fact that it's a survey based, so someone may be like, okay, well, we don't have a computer lab, or we don't really use technological stuff in our school, so I probably don't think, or I can use it, but because we don't have it, it goes into the section of, well, I can't use it, or it's not available. How do you address the situation where there are people who actually can or have the practical ability to maneuver their way around technology, but then they are just stuck because, well, the survey is, do you use it in school? No. So, or probably do you have it in your class? No, and then you're stuck there. How do you address that? Because I'm sure people would have, if you knew people were able to use these technologies, it would help with recommending the schools or the government to make it more available compared to, okay, well, people don't have it, probably they can't use it. We let's train them, push the money into training people when we can actually have it there because there are people who have the technological know-how.
Okay. Could I come in?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, so if I got your question, you're asking how the web could be used by anybody, is that right?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay. So basically, the government of Ghana, I think in 2018, for instance, implemented some in-service teacher education, type of professional development programs for in-service teachers. And also, when it comes to pre-service teachers, there is another program like that. And then when you read the document, the guidelines for this professional development programs, you realize that teachers are being paid to kind of use some advanced technologies and all that. And from interviews with the teachers or from actual observations of some schools I visited, I realized that the teachers cannot really use the technologies. And so more or less the impact of the professional development programs is quite limited. And we can see that there are many of such programs and policies, but the result is quite limited. Now, the work is to help the government understand that teachers cannot even create new folders. And so we should start from there. Teachers cannot even open a PPT document. So we should start from there. That is one way of looking at the work. Is to let us understand empirically the situation on the ground, guide the development of program, operation of programs such as the TP, professional development programs. I don't know if I answered your question, please.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move away from that and cool down the tension with some musical interlude. Enjoy the music, and thank you very much for this wonderful presentation, our panelists. Thank you very much. Let's enjoy the musical interlude. Countenance.
Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Brown, you wanna make something say? Mama, why you want to wanna join? Why you want to wanna join? Why you want to wanna join? She goes on, that's just me. Baby, why you want to wanna join? Why you want to wanna join? Why you want to wanna join? She goes on, that's just me. Oh my no, baby, I'm tired oh my God, baby, I'm tired my no, baby, I'm tired she goes on, that's just me. Oh my God, baby, I'm tired oh my no, baby, I'm tired she goes on, that's just me.
All right, we will continue from here. We will give Leslie a 10 minutes for presentation and then have another 5 minutes panel discussion. The floor is yours. Leslie Apote Odai. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I'm trying to share my screen.
Okay.
Okay, so please, is my screen visible?
Yes, please. It is.
Oh, okay, thank you very much. So my name is Leslie Afote Odai. Oh, sorry. My name is Leslie Afote Odai, and I'll be presenting on navigating digital transformation, the critical role of digital transformation, digital transformational leadership in hosting innovation capability in sub-Saharan Africa. So my research is structured into 8 sections. I have the introduction, and the second chapter is educational review and professional development. Then I the methodology. I also discuss the results, discuss the theoretical and practical implications. Then I wrap up with the conclusion, implementation, and future research direction. Okay. So the rapid expansion of technology has driven many organizations to adapt digital transformation, which is marked by a phenomenon that helps to reshape business models, processes, and create value. And even though this particular phenomenon has widely spread in developed economies, studies within the sub-Saharan context remain limited.
Very sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Leslie. But I think it's paramount that you have your video up so at least we can see the present. If that
I'm
is
sorry. I'm sorry. It's kind of sorry.
okay, sure. No.
Okay. So, considering, even though research on this phenomenon has been widely studied in developed economies, studies within the sub-Saharan context remain limited, despite the region's unique challenges and opportunities. For instance, many firms in the region face structural and institutional problems that hinder the success of digital transformation. And at this highest level, digital transformation has been found to influence innovation capability, which is recognized as a critical determinant of firms' competitive advantage and sustainability. So, with that being said, additional research has been extensively examined on how digital transformation influences innovation capabilities. However, majority of these studies have focused on a direct relationship, often overlooking the mechanism that facilitate this transformation. And research has also identified knowledge sharing as a driver of innovation. However, little is known about this role as a mediator through which digital transformation brings about innovation capability. Additionally, although leadership is widely acknowledged as a critical element in digital transformation, product studies have focused on general leadership styles, often leaving a gap in the understanding of how a leadership style like digital transformational leadership can influence the association between digital transformation and innovation capability. So this particular study is motivated by the need to address these gaps and also resolve the ambiguity surrounding the goals of knowledge sharing and digital transformation. So to achieve this is how does digital transformation influence innovation capability and knowledge sharing? And then the second has to do with knowledge sharing within the relationship between digital transformation and innovation capability. And lastly, does digital transformational leadership enhance or constrain the effects of digital transformation on innovative capability and knowledge sharing? So to achieve um, these these questions, the study makes several contributions to the value of knowledge. And then the first has to do with by identifying knowledge sharing as a mediating mechanism. It extends the digital transformation literature by revealing how the exchange of knowledge and expertise facilitates the impact of digital initiatives in driving innovation. Again, it also highlights the strategic role of leadership in navigating organizational change. And then lastly, it also synthesizing elements of technology, knowledge, and leadership to provide practical, theoretical insight. So, these are the hypotheses that are guiding the study, and they were developed through the lens of the technology capability theory, which explain how organizations really changing about first by sensing opportunities and threats, seizing them through strategic decisions, and also reconfiguring resources to maintain competitive advantage. So within this framework, knowledge sharing, transformation, and leadership treated as the things dynamic capabilities to translate into innovative outcomes. So this the hypothesized model which depicts the relationships for the environment and that investigation. So we can see that digital transformation is having a direct relationship on innovative capability, the same relationship on knowledge sharing. And then we see that knowledge sharing is creating between digital transformation and innovative capability. And then digital transformational leadership is acting as the moderator among the associations. So moving on to the methodology, the study engaged senior and middle level managers in Ghana and Nigeria-based firms, precisely from the industrial technology, manufacturing, and financial service sectors. And we also harness the use case of primary data. Now, for the data collection instruments, we administered a project personnel using validated scale items from power studies. And we also utilize the purposes sampling technique to select the participants. And for the final sample used for the data analysis was 530. And smart PLS score was an analytical tool that was really to analyze. Okay, so moving on to the results. The first table presents the direct, the analysis for the direct relationship. So from this table, we can see that from hypothesis 1 to hypothesis 3, the first hypothesis, the results state that digital transformation has a positive and significant effect on innovation capability. And then this same results is reflected throughout from hypothesis 2 to hypothesis 3A. And then moving on to the second table, which is the output for the moderation and education. First, the results demonstrate that naturally is the relationship between digital transformation and innovation capability. And this is supported by the companies for sale the lower level and upper level confidence intervals. And then digital transformational leadership was also found to be a significant moderator in the relationship between digital transformation and innovation capability. And the same with digital transformation and knowledge sharing. So I have some graphs which depict the interaction effect. So over here we can see for the first graph we can see that at high levels of digital transformational leadership, the effect of digital transformation on innovation capability increases. And this is similar to the second graph whereby the effects of digital transformation on knowledge sharing increases. So moving on to the theoretical implications. First, we demonstrate that digital transformation is not just a technological upgrade, but then it functions as a dynamic capability, whereby it enables firms to it enables firms to sense opportunities and threats, as well as feed them and also reconfigure their resources to meet the demands of a rapidly changing market environment. And in the study, we spent the dynamic capability theory by demonstrating that knowledge sharing has an integral component in the capability. Then we also demonstrated that transformational leadership is a catalyst for technology adoption, and it is also a critical enabler of organizational learning and innovation. And then lastly, by integrating our study within the structural context, the study also provides insight into how dynamic capabilities operate in such a resource-constrained environment. So now to come to the practical implications, the study highlighted the relevant and investing in diverse technologies, ensuring that they align with the broader goals of the firm. And then it also admonishes them to create environments and practices for easy dissemination of knowledge. Lastly, organizations must also prioritize leaders who play a pivotal role in setting a clear vision, motivating employees, and aligning digital initiatives with organizational objectives. So, conclusively, the study has certain limitations that warrant consideration. And the first one has to do with the fact that the research was conducted in specific locations within Ghana and Nigeria. That is the Accra and Kumasi and Lagos to be precise. So we urge future research to expand this scope to diverse countries within the sub-Saharan context and also consider diverse sectors. And another limitation has to do with the exclusion of small and medium-sized enterprises, which they are prevalent and they kind of like play a critical role in the economies of these two countries, this is Ghana and Nigeria. So we also urge future regulators to follow this particular invitation by engaging diverse planning strategies. And then lastly, even though the study acknowledges the unique economic and technological challenges in the sub-Saharan context, to some extent, it does not account for other factors, regulatory framework, infrastructure gaps, and specific cultural attitudes, which would, one way or the other, have an influence on digital transformation and innovation capabilities. So we urge future researchers to also take these contextual factors into consideration. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
Thank you very much. We'll now use 5 minutes to call upon the panelists to give us their view on what was just discussed. So we'll call upon Dr. Nana Ajwa or Professor Bentum to give us any of them who wants to start.
All right, I'll start. I can be here.
Yes, please, you can.
All right. Mr. Leslie, or should I say Mr. Ondai? Yeah, so I think that it's well done. The work is well done. It's has almost all the elements I was expecting to see in there, of course, but I still have a few issues to point out. These are just for suggestion's sake, and then you might want to advocate in there. First, you mentioned theoretical implications. Can you please remind me which theory again was used?
Yes, this particular thing has only used one theory, which was the dynamic capability theory.
All right. So you mentioned their implications, but then you didn't tell us how it's actually links what you're trying to do. From what you did, the presentation you just gave us, and then you might want to give us a clear reader, like the readership, a clear cut, like plan on why you are using this very theory, right? Also, you mentioned that you use the partial least square of the structure equational model using smart TLS. Is that correct? All right. Could you explain why you use that? We are doing a structure equation.
Yes. If you look at my model, given that the whole idea was to test this particular model, it's a single frame, and usually smart scalers really helps with that. That's analytical. So usually when you are considering a model, whereby you have your model test and then your BD test, and you want to test everything as a go, smart scalers is a tool that really helps you to do that. So that is why I still consider this particular tool.
Okay. If you wanted to confuse me, I think you rightfully did that, but that is fine. Also, I looked at your topic. Now, basically, looking at your topic and your model, they should actually correspond. Now, if I should take a critical look at your model, which is talking about digital transformation, and basically how it affects, or is it the other way around? Which one is the dependent variable here, and which ones are the moderators? Sorry, the independent variables. Because I know you have just one. Yeah.
Okay, so the independent variable over here is digital transformation, and then the monitor Yes, and then the moderator is digital transformational leadership. The
Okay.
mediator is knowledge sharing, and then the dependent variable is innovation capability.
Can you please highlight your model again?
Okay. All right. So this is the entire model, right?
Sorry, briefly.
Okay. So this is the model. We have the independent variable, which is digital transformation. So it is looking, yes. So digital transformation having a direct effect on innovation capability and knowledge sharing. And knowledge sharing is a mediator, which mediates these relationships. That is the relationship between digital transformation and innovation capability. And then you have digital transformational leadership acting as a monitor against this association.
So from your diagram here, I can rightfully see that your digital transformation leadership is playing the moderating role, even though you have not seen us. Let's look at that. Just looking at the model. From my basic understanding, you mentioned that digital transformation is the dependent variable. Is that correct?
Yes. No.
But in your model here,
No. It is the independent variable.
Independent rather.
Yes. The dependent variable is only one, which is innovation capability.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So initially, from your topic, it's saying something else. So you might want to reconsider that. And then when I initially asked you, you mentioned that digital transformation was actually the dependent variable.
No, sorry. It's an independent variable.
All right. That's okay. So I think that's fine. I wanted to clarify that. That's okay.
Thank you very much. That was a very good and a very in-depth review. And we'll bring on board Dr. Nana Ajoa to do us the honors for the next discussion.
All right, thank you very much, moderator. Mr. Dai, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
I wish I could see you, but I guess I'll just have to manage. Okay, so I don't really have much to say. I believe your work was your study was a good one. It has like created a clear pathway for companies that have to develop or incorporate the digital transformation technology, the knowledge sharing, digital transformation leadership, and all that into their company. And I believe when it is incorporated, it's going to improve the leadership development, especially looking at the fact that we are in a digital age, AI age, machine learning, like everything is becoming digitized. I think it's a good start, or it's a good addition to existing knowledge where companies can actually incorporate it in their structures and boost their output or the competitive nature of companies and their how do I say it? The services they render. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you very much, and we really wish you all the best in the rest of your study and in your publication.
Thank you.
Amazing work, Mr. Leslie Afete. Thank you very much for the presentation and a very nice review by our panelists. Thank you so much. The next program will be the introduction of the second guest, and this will be done by Honorable Innocent for a stipulated time of 3 minutes. Right after that, we'll have 10 minutes guest speaker's speech. So the floor is yours, Honorable Innocent.
Introduce the next speaker, who is in the person of Mr. Joseph Akutu-Boateng. Mr. Joseph Akutu-Boateng is an entrepreneur, agribusiness consultant, and media practitioner who specializes in sustainable food systems, innovative technology, and climate smart solutions. He is the founder of Aya Sustainable Solutions, 635 Foods, and Stimulus Technologies Limited. At Aya Sustainable Solutions, He oversees 3 integrated farms, about 1,100 acres of productive land, designed with cashew and coconut as the anchor plants. Joseph is using his transdisciplinary knowledge and experience to build model farms with optimized productivity, profitability, and environmental and social sustainability. He's led stimulus technologies for close to 10 years to deliver cutting-edge solutions for high-value global and national brands and MSMEs in Ghana. Driven by his passion for social causes, he co-founded the Generosity Club to mobilize funds and service hours for startups and public interest projects. As an agricultural infrastructure consultant, he works with the Millennium Development Authority, where he coordinates the development of infrastructure on 50,000 acres of economic enclaves, aimed at significantly enhancing domestic food production, import substitution, and national food security. He also serves on the advisory board of Ghana Food Movement, a network of young chefs, farmers, food producers, scientists, entrepreneurs, nutritionists, students, and other food experts working together to tackle big problems in Ghana's food system. He is also the director of partnerships and communications for Federation of Associations of Ghanaian Exporters. In this role, he works with the council to promote Ghana's non-traditional exports in strategic markets globally. In February 2025, he was the lead spokesperson for the FAGE team at the Fruit Logistica in Berlin, where the team pitched to buyers and secured over 200 million worth of orders for Ghana's horticultural exporters. He is a host of the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra. He is an alumnus of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, the German African Leadership Academy, and the Johns Hopkins University Bloomberg Global Road Safety Leadership Program. Hochschule, I'm very sorry for this, I don't speak German very much. Hochschule für Fortwirtschaft Rothenburg BWS Class project, among others. He is currently pursuing an MPhil in Sustainability Science at the University of Ghana. He loves road trips within Ghana and Africa, swimming and music. So this is the next speaker.
So, on that note, we'll thank you very much for the introduction, Honorable Innocent. But before we give our guest speaker the floor, I would like us all to please click the link that has been sent in the chat box and fill in your information for certification purposes. Thank you very much for hearing me out. And for now, I will give the floor to our guest speaker, Mr. Joseph Akuto Boateng. The floor is yours. With a time duration of 10 minutes, we welcome our guest speaker to give his speech, Mr. Joseph Akuto Boateng. Please, if you are here, let us know.
Yes, I'm here. I'm happy called Joseph because some people call me Joseph. It's unsettling for me. Joseph is the name of the cat, you know, and for people who eat cats, when they hear Joseph, they think they've seen it.
Asemaba.
Anyway, good Is it evening or morning there?
It's evening here. It's morning here.
Good evening, everyone. I hope we are all well. My name is Joseph Akoto Boateng. I prefer usually to be called Kojo Akoto Boateng. I'm currently aspiring to farm. I'm trying to be a farmer. I am also a broadcaster. I've worked extensively in radio from Focus FM to Capital Radio to Ultimate Radio to City FM. I'm now with Joy FM. I run 3 farms and I consult on large-scale agric projects for the government of Ghana and other private sector players. I'm going to speak briefly about agriculture as has been planned as part of the program. And I'm going to talk about agric because personally I feel everything we do has the foundation in agriculture. So every little thing we do has a foundation in agriculture. If you wake up in the morning, you are going to eat, it's agric. You are going to wear clothes, it's agric. The sheet you sleep on is agric. So almost everything is agric. So how can people like us take advantage of agric? What is there to know about agric to enable us to make the right decisions to create value in the Ghanaian economy and create value in the global economy and actually create wealth for ourselves? So that's basically what I'll spend the next 7 minutes to talk about. I've used 3 minutes for my cut and Joseph an introduction. Please, can you see my screen?
Yes, please.
You can see my screen?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Your screen is visible.
Okay. So I'll give you guys a general overview when it comes to Ghana and a country overview. And because you guys are into China, I am not the person to tell you about scale and growth when it comes to doing big things, because we are in the country that actually does the big things. But at least we need to know what our country is and how everything is. Ghana has a population of over 30 million. I am older than 35 years old, but I usually tell people I'm 35 years, so they don't think that I'm going on pension anytime soon. And I'm older than 73% of Ghana's population. If you talk about total water availability in Ghana, we have about 56 billion cubic meters of water. This water is enough to supply all the water needs of West. But if you look at the Ashanti region GDP, it's about $12 billion. The GDP of Israel is about $520 billion. So it shows that there is a lot we can do, a lot we can harness. Israel, with a small land size, smaller than Ashanti region, they don't have a lot of natural water sources. They don't have the gold and the resources we have. They have added value to whatever they have to the point where their GDP is bigger than that of Ghana. I don't want to talk about China like I said earlier, because if you look at the growth of China over the years, and how they have harnessed agriculture to drive industrialization, and how they are the key players in every aspect of the global economy. It should tell you that there's a lot to be done if you pay attention to agric. What does Ghana import when it comes to agric? We import used clothing, which is made with cotton, silk, all the fabrics, wool, whatever. We import raw sugar, we import processed fish, we import rice, we import tea, we import wheat, we import poultry meat, we import rubber footwear, chalewate, we import them, we import palm oil, we import trunks and cases, we import toilet paper, craft paper, we import fake hair, millions of dollars worth of fake hair. And all these things have agric as the underlying supply of the resources for this. And we import a lot from China. So Samala Bwaje has been helping me import a lot of machines from China. And now I'm in a state where I want to do packaging, and now we have to import packaging also from China. And I asked myself, what does China do right that we do not do right? And so when I start asking myself these questions, it helps me to drill down into finding the solutions to some of the problems. For example, the craft paper that we import for packaging, how else can we produce craft paper aside using our forestry resources? We can use plantain and banana stem to produce craft paper. We can use bamboo to produce craft paper. We can use rice husk to produce rice craft paper. So this 7.84% value of imports of rice, which is about 300 million. If we were producing a lot more rice, we will have the byproducts of rice husk to use.
Honest. That